former party leader Hellen Zille beat sole rival Mike Moriarty to be re-elected as the chair of the party's Federal Council, a role in which she has a significant influence over the DA's day-to-day running. Zille bagged 69% of the votes cast, making this the tightest race of the Congress. She joins me now. Good evening, and thank you so much for your time, Hellen. Firstly, congratulations on your re-election. What does this appointment effectively mean for you?
Well, it isn't an appointment, it is an election, as you rightly said. It means a lot to me. I never expected to get a two-thirds majority. That is an enormous majority in a federal council, which has a different electorate from a federal Congress, of course. And it feels very good to have such a lot of support and win the confidence of so many of my colleagues. And I will be going out there to run the party efficiently and well and take us into the 2021 election.
It also leaves you with a great deal of trust, at least of the people who didn't vote for you, that you'll have to try and win over. How do you plan on doing that?
I don't need to win them over. They know very well that I will be fair to absolutely everybody. I know who didn't vote for me because they told me quite openly and honestly, and I was grateful for that. But they can tell me that they're not going to vote for me because they know I'm absolutely fair to everybody. So that's how I am. I'm fair to everybody. I implement the rules across the board without fear or favor. Everyone knows that.
What were some of the reasons that they gave for not giving you their vote?
Asking me what reasons they gave for not supporting me. Well, not everyone supports everybody. I mean, that's how it is. That's how it works in a democracy, and you've got to expect that. And I'm completely relaxed about it. I mean, you know, I'm also, that's absolutely fair, and I will certainly never take it out on anybody.
Sorry, Hellen, we missed the first part of your answer. We seem to have had a delay there. And the question that I was asking was, what were some of the reasons that those who didn't vote for you had given for why they were not giving you their vote? Very
frank and open with me, and I feel, though, that I will never victimize anybody who doesn't support me. And people are allowed to support who they like. People have different reasons. They want to support A and B and C for whatever reason. 69% is a really thumping majority. It's more than two-thirds, and two-thirds is all you need to change the constitution of South Africa. So I'm very, very happy that so many people did support me. After all, last year I got 51% of the vote. This year I got 69% of the vote. That's almost 20%. Happy with that.
All right. We seem to be struggling a little bit with this line, but we'll soldier on, and you let me know if you struggle to hear any part of the program. So earlier on, we were in conversation with Professor Stephen Friedman. I want you to listen to what he says about what the outcome of this election effectively means and what the challenges for the DA might be.
It's not uncommon in political parties very often for the leader not to be the person who sets the agenda. There are all sorts of examples around the world which one could mention, and perhaps some here as well. So, you know, it's not an absolute novelty in politics that the leader is not the person driving the agenda. But, you know, if you see the way the DA is moving, and you see the kind of things that Hellen Zille says in public and the things that she says on Twitter, there's no particular difference between them. I mean, this is clearly, the party is clearly moving in the direction that Hellen Zille wishes it to lead in. And as I say, with the greatest respect, Mr. Steenhuisen doesn't have the kind of record that Hellen Zille has of, whether you agree or not, of identifying a particular direction and going for it. You know, nobody could accuse Hellen Zille of, you know, being shy about what she believes, whether it offends people or not. And that's not the way Steenhuisen does his politics. So, you know, I think he's more likely to represent a particular trend within the DA than he is to place his individual stamp on the party in the way in which Hellen Zille herself did when she was leader.
Helen, what do you make of Professor Friedman's observations?
Well, I don't think I have spoken to Stephen Friedman since we were both journalists on the Rand Daily Mail together many, many years ago. And I don't know if he's ever spoken to John Steenhuisen. So how he can be trotted out as an expert on the DA beats me. I mean, if you want to look for reasons why news channels are losing viewership, just look at the kind of people who offer political commentary.
So I get that you've responded on what you think of him and maybe the work that he does, but I'm asking you to perhaps reflect on what he has said, that the DA may well...
I don't take him seriously or anything that he says.
That's fair enough, but the reality is that there has been an ongoing perception that John Steenhuisen will not be his own man in this party and that you are going to be driving the agenda.
That's a perception created by people like Stephen Friedman, who know nothing about the DA, who know nothing about me, and who know nothing about John. And so I take people seriously who actually do a little bit of homework, who speak to the people involved, who get some information, and then give an opinion that's worth listening to.
Is the DA going to be contesting the elections, and perhaps we can start with the upcoming elections, the local government elections, to be a party in government? Is that the future that you will be pushing towards?
Of course. I mean, I took the DA into being a party of government. We won the city of Cape Town in 2006 on a 7-party coalition. I was the mayor there. We won the Western Cape in 2009. I was the premier there for 10 years. How would we not be contesting to be a party of government?
In order to do that, of course, you'd also need the majority vote, effectively. How are you going to ensure that not just the people who perhaps whose votes you lost in the previous election, but that even more than that are going to be voting for you?
We faded away there, but I don't know if you're waiting for me to answer. Anyone who wants good, honest, clean, effective government will vote DA. Anyone who wants to play identity politics won't. And then they must live with the consequences of what they voted for.
When we look at the local government space, of course, we've been thrown into this arena of coalition politics. You have a particular view around coalition politics. What is going to be your approach going forward in terms of who the DA enters into coalitions with and who it doesn't?
Well, I don't know what you think my view of coalition politics is, because you've never discussed it with me. But I have run a 7-party coalition very successfully in Cape Town, and I know how to run very complex coalitions. So my view of going into coalitions is that you must have a program of action that all the parties can agree to, and that they can put together, and they can live with, and they can sell to their voters.
My understanding is that you're well quoted as having said that you won't be entering into coalitions with the EFF.
Well, you cannot go into coalitions with parties who don't share any of your same basic values and vision and program of action. That is going into a government that is bound to fail. And the last 5 years have proved that to be true.
Does John Steenhuisen agree with that view?
I think any serious person who understands coalitions knows that you can't go into coalitions with people who fundamentally disagree with every basic value that you hold as a party.
Does John Steenhuisen agree with you?
You better ask him. Don't ask me what John Steenhuisen thinks.
Does the party have a view on this, though? Is there a collective view that you are going to be taking or that you have taken on this matter?
Ask the leader that question.
Have you discussed this with him at all?
Often.
And what has come out of those discussions?
You better ask the leader. I'm not the leader of the DA.
All right, fair enough. I'll have to do that then. We'll have to get John Steenhuisen to also come in and weigh in on this conversation. In terms of going forward, Hellen, what kind of relationship do you see yourself having with John Steenhuisen?
We've always had a very, very good relationship. We've always come up for each other in difficult times, and I am sure that this will be no different in the future.
All right. Let's leave it there. Hellen Zille, she is the DA's Federal Council chairperson.